a little creativity, you can make elastigel do almost anything you would ever want. If you have a wound on the hand or the foot, you can cut elastigel. Because of the Lycra backing, it has a 4-way stretch. In this model, I have cut vertical slits that could easily fit over the fingers and help separate fingers if you had a problem with the interdigital webbing, or you had a longer piece to cover the dorsum of the hand. This is an application I've used numerous times on industrial accidents. This same idea works well if you use it on the feet and around the toes. It comes in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. Oftentimes, for wounds on the buttocks, I like to use the horseshoe shape, and it conforms nicely to the buttocks, extending down the legs. And this is especially helpful for those patients who perhaps have had radiation for a rectal cancer, and they have some radiation skin damage. You can use that inverted to go around a tube. You can make it do anything. One of the sizes and shapes it comes in is this wonderful little toe aid. There's a small square of elastigel, and then the adjacent tape can either tear off if you wanted, or it can fold down, conforming to the end of a digit. And we know how hard it is to dress toes and digits. We also had a patient recently who had full degloving of their finger, a small child. And this child's pain and anxiety were quite literally off the chart. And one of the techniques that worked very well was to cut the elastigel into a star shape, wrapping each side of that elastigel down another side of the digit. The patient's anxiety after the first dressing change dropped dramatically. I have to say, I think he almost looked forward to coming in for dressing changes. But prior to that, it was tears in the parking lot because it was so terribly painful. One of the other things that I really like about elastigel is most of the sizes that you're going to use commonly come in a package that has a pre-printed grid. The grid is in centimeters, allowing you to use this to measure wounds, or for a very irregularly shaped wound, you can use this to trace the shape of the wound. If you have to create a very complex pattern and cutting the elastigel, this will aid with that as well. Now, I personally like to write on my dressings. And so one of the things that I love to do with elastigel is I use it a lot for skin tears. It goes on beautifully, and more importantly, it comes off beautifully. There's no trauma in removing elastigel. Your patient's not going to be sitting there with their eyes closed wincing. It's a very comfortable atraumatic dressing change. And because I can write on the Lycra, if this is a skin tear, I can apply it to that area. I can put my directional arrow showing my staff which direction they need to be removing this from to not disturb the graft, and I could even write when I want it changed. You can initial your dressings, meet all of your regulatory compliance issues, and have a great product. There is so much that I want to tell you about elastigel, and truly, there's not enough time to cover all the applications. I will imagine that those of you watching will say, whoa, she didn't talk about this, because you can use it for a million different things. So please, try elastigel, get creative. Primary, secondary dressing, almost any application you can think of, elastigel is going to be a valuable tool in your toolbox. So for a heel pressure ulcer, I frequently will take my 4x4 piece of elastigel. I will cut the sides about 1/3 of the way in on both sides, and I will then peel off the backing. This leaves me my elastigel dressing and my Lycra backing. I am then able to take this, position it over the patient's heel. Now I want you to imagine that this heel does not have this huge wound. If we were addressing this heel pressure ulcer that already exists, I would probably be adding some other products like Stimulin and maybe a little gold dust. But if this were an intact heel that we merely wanted to do prevention on, I would apply the elastigel to the point of the heel, wrap it around the leg, wrap it over the foot, matching those corners, and then you could hold this on with a simple roller gauze. This same principle is going to work for using elastigel on a sacrum, using elastigel on a hip, on a trochanter, on the bridge of a nose where perhaps we're using a CPAP in the hospital. Perhaps we need to put a piece of elastigel under oxygen tubing because we do not want a device-related pressure ulcer. And regardless of where you put your elastigel, it is going to prevent that tissue shifting and shearing. It is going to help prevent that wound from having undue pressure. It is going to maintain that steady temperature. And it is going to solve your problems in a simple, cost-efficient mechanism.